Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm here with Rebecca Hastings. Rebecca and I have known each other for quite some time, and Rebecca's done some very interesting research in the area of technology careers, technology leadership, technology hiring. And Rebecca's going to giving us some insights. But first, for people that are watching who don't know you, give us a quick introduction to you.
Thanks, Adam. So I have been working in the recruitment and talent sector now for just over 18 years. So I consider myself a recruitment adult as of March this year. During that time, I've worked both in-house on agency side and in executive search. Over the last couple of years, I've had my own business. So I do a mix of talent consultancy, search, just whatever is mission critical for the business that's going to make the biggest impact on them. But very much focused on technology, startup, scale up, and then I would say deep nerd is my core area of expertise. So last year, I was doing some research into emerging AI roles. And as I was doing this, I found it's actually really hard to get any meaningful compensation trends around people at the senior end of the market. I mean, we can all look at various data sources, but there just hadn't been many data points from adverts or things that you could pick up on. And part of that was a lot of the people who are in these roles had been promoted internally. So it wasn't quite as transparent to an outsider to see what was going on. So I decided that I would go out and do some pretty detailed research into chief AI and chief data officers, the challenges they're facing, what's going on in their careers, how we can help them, and how what's going on from a talent perspective as well as a business perspective.
I mean, that's a really exciting thing to do because there are so many jobs which people have never done before within an organization, and companies are going to have to hire for them. And yeah, you can't, just as you've identified, you can't go out there and just go, oh, find a salary survey around like AI research science jobs within the pharmaceutical industry, because nobody's done that job until maybe the last 12 months.
Absolutely. And there's so many niches within niches is one of the things that you discover as you start to kind of peel off the layers of an onion in here. But I spoke with over 100 of these leaders globally, so mainly within the UK, EMEA, throughout the US as well, in particular, mix of financial services, technology companies, pharma, retail, just quite a broad spectrum to get a bit of a feel about what's going on out there. And there were some things which totally surprised me. The first was that 63% of the people that I surveyed and completed in full said to me that they're already eyeing their next role. They're actively looking for a move in the next 12 months, which for mostly C-suite and the level below is kind of wild from a succession planning perspective.
Let's stop on that one for a second then. So this is the first insight. 63% of these leaders in AI are looking for a move or are actively interested in opportunities. Okay.
Yeah.
If I was somebody doing that job, then things are moving so fast. I may well have completed my mission within 12 months of starting my job. So I wonder if people are going to be continuously turning over a lot faster than a typical C-level job as a result of the pace of the dynamism within AI right now. The other aspect to that might be, as I get more experience, and I'm talking about every month, not every year, every month, my market value goes up. And every time I've done something for one company, another company that's left behind a little bit is going to need to pay me more to get that task done and to move. I mean, I know a bit about this because I hire people in my own little company to do a lot of AI related tasks. What do you think about my analysis of your insight?
I think some of it's correct and some of it is potentially a bit more complex. So going back to I've achieved everything, it's time to move on. You definitely can achieve a hell of a lot really quickly. So one of the chief AI officers I spoke with, he'd improved productivity by 1,700% in parts of the business. It was quite a traditional business. So he was going from a place where he could make some huge wins. But I don't think it's as simple as that. If you even just look at the changes that we've seen with like OpenAI's new models this year, all of them have like totally different economic costs. So even as we like build out these AI agents and leverage more of these LLMs within our business, it's not a one and done fix because you're going to have to completely redo things. It may suddenly no longer be economically efficient to do them one way. So this is something which is ever moving. And I've then had loads of conversations with these people, and a lot of them, it's mainly because they're frustrated or it's because they moved into this new role that didn't exist internally and they are thinking about getting that next bump up. This is a sector where there's definitely your loyalty has counted against candidates. When I did the salary analysis, people who have changed jobs in the last 12 months have profited from that, whereas like maybe in the last 3 years overall, they're getting paid less than those who've just changed jobs now.
I mean, again, another really interesting insight. So I think that it if you, I mean, it's the same. I think in a lot of professions, that's the same for people maybe in their 20s. So I noticed
Yeah.
it back from when I used to recruit accountants when I was, earlier in my career. And those people who'd made like maybe 3 moves during their 20s, they were maybe 30 years old and on 60 grand. Whereas those people who had stayed within the same organization right through till being 30, they might have been on 40. So, it
Yeah.
could be a big difference. So okay, that makes sense. I wonder if these people are also realizing that it's like time to kind of make hay while the sun shines, and because there's almost like a gold rush in all of this, that's probably a factor.
Potentially, I don't think that's like one of the core motivations. Definitely, like frustration came through more. I think like these, like for example, an area of ambiguity which can cause friction in organization that's super relevant to us of who are working in people and talent is like, who is responsible for learning and development around AI and changing everyone's jobs. And I think that's where like when 51% of the respondents said like cross-functional collaboration is broken in their businesses at that senior end, I think we have to work harder with AI and data because it is shaping the organization. I mean, it's shaping our jobs. It's not just shaping the organization. To really enable that to be as painless as possible for everyone. Otherwise, we're just going to create like chaos, and people will leave across the business. Like I know that I have left roles, or especially early in my career, if the tools I was given just weren't good enough, because I would be like, well, obviously I'll be able to do my job better and I'll be able to learn more. And you're hiring software engineers, they want to work with really good technology as well and feel like they're learning.
Funny, on that subject, like I was talking to somebody, a talent leader this morning, and we were having a conversation about AI, and I'd said on the one hand, you might consider AI as like if you've got a problem or you've identified an opportunity, you look for a solution. And if that solution's an AI solution, then fine. It's just another, you know, solution to something that you've got that's active today. But at the same time, I think a completely different approach could be, right, what is the AI capable of? And therefore, actually, how might I apply that into what we're doing? So actually just looking at fixing problems might be a kind of leave me in a more laggard position than if I am very actively going and trying to establish what I can use the AI for. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is because I can understand what the frustration might be for AI and data leaders today, in that every organization is going to have quite a different approach to that. And they're going to have a different approach to that according to who's the CEO, who's the CFO, and what do they think about it.
And everyone thinks they're the AI experts, so they will definitely have lots of things to chip in. I mean, that's another thing which I think is quite frustrating. I mean, it's like the same in, recruitment. Everyone's hired someone, so they're an expert in recruitment and can do it. I think we're at risk of putting people with that skill set in a similar situation.
Tell me about the other insights that you learned.
So I guess like there were huge problems. Like, so like 91% of them said like hiring AI talent is really hard, and they don't fully understand why always. Then like 87% of them said like it could be a struggle. Retention was not easy once they've hired these specialists into their teams. And through speaking with them, it feels like a lot of the TA support that they're getting isn't necessarily looking at some of the things that I don't know, like we've spoken about previously. You know, like traditional stuff like Gort, you understand your candidate personas, you map your markets well, you make sure things are personalized, you try and present the business in a really compelling manner, use a mix of different channels to approach people and create content that adds value to them along the way if you can as part of your attraction process. And I don't think that TA have necessarily been given the space to do that with these people. They're so busy, involved in so many different things, and it's almost been treated like this is just like hiring, I don't know, like software engineers. But some of these people are so in demand. Like, I genuinely know of situations where people just coming out of PhD programs have been given £1 million, not $1 million, £1 million plus. Like maybe they've worked in, I don't know, a hedge fund for a few years before they did their PhD or something like that. But for some people, as people in areas where organizations may get smaller over the next few years, that's going to have less of an impact on a wage bill if you've got fewer people paid more money, as long as your revenue permits that.
Okay, so 87% of those AI leaders said that retaining people was hard. When like
Yeah,
2/3 of them are interested in making a move, it's hardly surprising that the
I
people who
know.
work for them are also interested in making a move. But 91% said it was hard to hire. Um, I think talent acquisition is definitely going to find it a challenge to hire things like, you know, prompt engineers and like proper AI engineers and things like that. And because there isn't like, I mean, we've all seen these adverts, like you must have 3 years of experience using whatever it is, which has
Yeah.
not even been around for 3 years. So, there's a lot of, uh, there's a lot of the difference between expectations and reality is a bit of a mismatch. The talent acquisition typically will be able to focus on if they've got like 40 recs on at any one time, they'll be able to get easier to fill jobs done. And those AI type things are going to be much harder. You've described it, it's in-demand talent. And hiring for them is going to be hard because they've got so many opportunities. So you've
Yeah.
got to really roll out the red carpet and nurture these people, and you've got to present your organization in a way which is really attractive to these people. And you've got to design jobs which are really attractive to these people as well. Because if your organization isn't doing anything particularly exciting, then you've got to create a job which is exciting. So
Yeah.
much to it.
And this is at a time when certainly I'm seeing, and some of the work that I've been helping people with is around all of those things, but also like how do we redesign our organization for what AI is going to do next year? So we're actually doing everything all at once. And I think that this is a real opportunity for TA to get into the boardroom more and start explaining to CEOs, CFOs in particular, like hiring AI talent is going to make your business successful. Talent acquisition has to be the execution engine for making that happen. And if you're going to lose this person that we spent all this time hiring, this is how much it costs. And if we don't hire these people and our competitors do, this is also how much it costs. And I think that, you know, as we're creating these new jobs, some of the core themes that people are looking for, because not everyone is fixated on money, not all candidates care about that as much. It's not the primary driver for a lot of people in this sector. They want influence and autonomy in particular, and that they're not being given that seat at the table. But we need to empower all of these people, or the businesses that we work in are really going to struggle in the next few years.
Great. Rebecca, I know there's heck of a lot in the research that you put together. I know you've got a very chunky piece of content that you can share.
Yeah.
How can people access this? How can people reach out to you and make contact?
Well, first of all, the easiest way to find me is on LinkedIn as Rebecca Hastings. And the next way to get the guide, certainly there'll be a link on my LinkedIn profile, but you can download it from my website, lucent-search.com. It's quite clear in the insights. You can go to the AI leadership guide there. And I'm sure I'll be able to give you a link to put in the notes below.
Wonderful. Rebecca, great to see you again. Thank you very much for taking the time to join me and give me a bit of a summary of some of the things that people can expect from your research.
Thanks so much, Adam. It's been really good to catch up again.